Over the past few days, we've seen some facts and fake news about this issue between Angkas and LTFRB. This is seemingly a very complicated issue, but in reality, it's actually not. On its face value, a lot of people think that, oh, the government is actually promoting competition, so why be against the government if that's actually for the common good? But is that actually the case? On its face value, the reality is the government is actually not fostering competition but cronyism. But allow me to discuss that later on, okay? One camp, Angkas, is trying to fight for its own success that it gained over the past 2 years of operation. We have seen over the past year that Angkas was punished for violating some rules that LTFRB put in place. But it was able to overcome that. It was able to correct that mistake and move on. And now it has become a success in this industry. On the other hand, we have a government that is claiming to promote competition by trying to destroy competition that is actually in existence in this market. Okay, that seems complicated, but please allow me to discuss that, okay? Is the government actually trying to promote and foster competition by promoting cronyism? That seemingly is, a contradictory statement, right? But it's not actually the case. It's very simple. There is one fact in this issue, and I'm gonna tell you that. I would like you to know that this is another live and unscripted screenshot vlogging, so please bear with me because it's gonna be a bit longer, and I'm gonna try to unravel this issue as clearly as I can. Okay, so if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. So to start with this commentary, I would like to discuss some very basic facts. There are 6 of them. The first fact is that Angkas will be forced by the government to share or let go of its 17,000 bikers in the name of the common good, or in the name of competition, and in the name of fighting monopoly. Alright, the government said that. For example, let me just show you the message from the LTFRB. This is a letter to Mr. George Royaka from Angkas. Mr. George Royaka is an advocate of Angkas. So it's saying here that, the government is actually for competition and against monopoly. So it's accusing Angkas of being a monopoly. Alright? And it's accusing Angkas of using emotional blackmail in order to win this fight, in order to win this issue. So I'm gonna discuss this in length later on, but this is gonna be a very basic fact. Angkas is being forced to share or to let go of its 17,000 bikers or riders. Alright, and that's a lot. The reason why is because of number 2. The government decided to put a cap on every TNCs, that is Transport Network Companies. TNC, on every TNC that is trying to join the market, the motorcycle ride-sharing market. Right, the cap is 10,000 per TNC. Okay, and that's the reason why. That's the justification being used by LTFRB or the government to crack down on the so-called monopoly that has gained by Angkas over the past 2 years. Angkas has been very successful. Okay, it offered free rides when the MRT station or the MRT service went down or got shut down this year, and because of that it was able to gain the sympathy and support of the public. Not only that, I'm an Angkas commuter or patron. I've seen the service of Angkas. The bikers are very polite, they're very professional, I have nothing to say against them. So that's something that they earn. The success is something that Angkas actually earned uh, because of its professional and very excellent service. So you don't just get that by simply joining the market, by simply applying for becoming a TNC or public transport network. Now, that's the second fact that we need to consider. That there is a cap being imposed by the government against all TNCs or transport network companies that is desiring to be part of this network. Okay, and the third one is out of 6 applications, LTFRB approved 2. So 2 new TNCs are going to join the network, which are Move It and Joyride. So we don't know who owned these companies or TNCs. According to some fake news, it's Senator Bongo, but Bongo actually denied that. He said it's fake news. So we don't know, but regardless of who own these 2 TNCs, it still is wreaking cronyism. It's all about cronyism, guys. So the other fact is 2 new TNCs will really benefit from this crony policy of LTFRB. That's a fact. Okay, and the other one is Angkas is actually not against competition. Angkas is not fighting for its monopoly status. So the statement that Angkas, being the premier and the veteran in this network, has gained a lot of bikers and support from the public, that doesn't make it a monopoly. All right, only the government can create a monopoly. That's a fact. Only government can create a monopoly. And what the government is doing now is actually anti-competition and in favor of monopoly. And the last fact is Angkas is not the one spreading propaganda. All right, it's actually the government that is spreading propaganda. But here we're gonna discuss a bit of issues, shall we? So, who is actually pro-cronyism, and who's actually telling the truth? All right. So, Angkas is actually, like I said, it's fighting for its success that it gained over the past 2 years. So it didn't just get to its new status, its success just by existing in the industry. All right, by providing better service, by using or hiring professional bikers, training them, making them really professional in what they do. Angkas was able to gain that success, was able to reap that particular status that it now has, and the government is trying to punish Angkas for being so successful. So who's actually against competition now? It's actually the government. All right, I would like to really clarify that in a bit, because I'm gonna discuss why this policy cap or the ceiling policy of the government is actually anti-competition, and it's going to be against and not beneficial to the public in the long run. Who is actually telling the truth? Angkas is being accused of spreading fake news and propaganda. In fact, the Department of Transportation, in its open letter to Angkas and its advocate, Mr. George Royka, is being accused of using emotional blackmail. Okay, Angkas is being accused of spreading fake news that it's not actually true, that 16,000 or 17,000 bikers will be displaced or will go jobless by the end of the year because of this policy of the government. But in reality, it's actually the government that is spreading fake news. Okay, because first, okay, how will Angkas determine who will it keep on who and who will go? First, let's consider this. Okay, since Angkas will be forced to displace 17,000 bikers, how will it determine who will stay and who will go? Okay, you know, this is actually very painful decision on the part of Angkas, to be honest with you, because it's going to displace 17,000 bikers by the order of the government, and these bikers will be forced to go jobless. And now the government is saying, okay, in this bully letter, this is actually, a good example of bully letter coming from the Department of Transportation. So, according to this open letter to Angkas from the Department of Transportation, let me just read to you this excerpt. On the matter of job displacement and loss of livelihood of your riders, it is not true that your 70,000 ride partners will be displaced. On the contrary, they actually what the F? What kind of logic is this? Okay, on the contrary, they actually have the option. You're not giving them the option. What about the option for the riders to stay with Angkas? So let's talk about freedom here. Competition, if it is about freedom, all right, you're free to compete. Okay, and let's not just talk about competition yet, because I'll try to disprove this contortionist explanation of the government when it comes to the issue of competition, or protecting and fostering and promoting competition in the sector. So, okay, how about the freedom of the bikers to choose to stay with Angkas? Why is the government so draconian and so totalitarian when it comes to providing choices about freedom, right? I have the right to free to choose, okay, to stay. So also, let's give the analogy that, okay, these 17,000 bikers, let's just show an analogy here, okay? For example, 17,000 interns would like to work and be trained to work for a multinational company that is known and has proven track record. All right, they trained and they would like to stay with that company, a multinational company. Let's say that is, a cargo company. Okay, and they train for that job. Now, they will be shocked and surprised to learn that by the end of the day, they will be forced to work for an unknown company, a local unknown company that has no proven track record. And the government is gonna tell that multinational company, that company that has proven track record and experience, that has gained the trust of the people and the public, that, hey, I'm not actually displacing the 17,000 interns. I'm actually giving them the option by forcing them to work for this company that we'd like them to work for. All right. So this is a good example of a bully government that's trying to bully small-time people. I'm providing you option. I'm providing you freedom. So choose this. That's actually how the government is behaving here. This is so revolting, to be honest with you. Reading this one, I don't know who wrote this. So they're claiming, on the contrary, they actually have the option to choose the best employment. No, you don't have the right. Okay, you don't even have the capability to provide that option, because the government is there just to serve as a referee, okay, to foster competition. So choose the best employment partnership. What if these 17,000 bikers choose to stay? They would like to stay with Angkas, and they indicated the fact that they would like to stay with Angkas by protesting. What about their freedom? What about their freedom to choose? All right, So this government is actually acting like a bully, and it's actually a bully. So with these two companies don't even have any proven track record and a proven, service to show. So it must earn that success. It must earn that, that respect and support from the public by providing good service like Angkas did over the past 2 years. So, they need to do that. And Angkas is actually right, really spot on in this issue. So let me just try to read this stupid letter from the DOTC. In fact, there is a need to hire more technical working group has recommended to increase pilot one participants. It's not about increasing. It's not about increasing the numbers of bikers in the motorcycle ride hailing network, but it's actually about competition. All right, it's actually about competition. So, okay, now let's go to the monopoly side. The fact remains that you want exclusivity with these riders to establish a monopoly. Oh my god, how stupid that is. That, sir, is unacceptable. And that is precisely the government is trying to avoid at all costs. This is our second and most anthemic point. There can be no monopoly in the motorcycle taxi service, as this goes against public interest. Okay, about the issue of monopoly, only the government can create a monopoly. What the government is doing now is actually creating a network of monopolies. Okay, by creating a level field of network of monopolies. And what the government is trying to do is forcing Angkas to subsidize its competitors. So Angkas will be forced to just stay with 10,000 bikers, and it's gonna give away the 17,000 bikers to its future competitors. What type of service will it do to the public if we're gonna keep that so stupid policy? And there's no such thing as enforced monopoly. The only way the government can foster monopoly, can foster competition and fight monopoly, is to promote competition, freedom to compete. And let me just tell you that Angkas is not actually against monopoly. So I don't know where this, government regulators got their economic, lesson or economic knowledge, but they're actually wrong in this case, fatally wrong. They don't have logic on their side. They don't have truth on their side as well. So, for example, Angkas with Mr. George Royaka said they are not actually against monopoly, and they're not fighting for exclusivity as the government through DOT, Department of Transportation, claimed. This is not a monopoly. So let me just quote George Royaka, Chief Transport Advocate of Angkas. He said, "This is not a monopoly. We welcome competition, but not at the expense of the safety of the riding public. The TWG, or Technical Working Group in charge of motorcycle taxis, is not about regulation. It's about corruption." It's actually right. So let's just discuss this issue of monopoly, shall we? Okay, only the government can create a monopoly by forcing the public to only patronize some selected companies. And we have all these monopolies in this country. For example, ABS-CBN and GMA, we have duopolies because only these networks are allowed to compete. Okay, they're shielded and protected from outside competition. So we have monopolies in the power sector because only these Filipino companies can compete. Okay, outside competitors are not allowed. And we have monopolies, the worst, in the telecommunication sector, duopoly, in fact, between PLDT and Globe. Is it PLDT? And yeah, PLDT and Globe. Okay, that's a duopoly. because only they can compete with each other. Outsiders are not allowed. So, for example, Telstra from Australia is not allowed in the Philippines, unlike in other countries in which outside competitors are allowed to compete. The reason why is we have in our constitution preferential treatment for Filipinos, and we have here in our constitution, for example, that is section Article 12, Section 19 of the Constitution about the government shall regulate, or the state shall regulate or prohibit monopolies when public interest so requires. So now talking about monopolies, okay? Well, the only way to fight monopoly is to allow competitors to compete. That's logic. Every first year economics student should know that. Okay, so you're supposed to know that. So, for example, let's just discuss the most freest or the freest market in the world, which is the internet. So, where's the other competitors now? For example, Microsoft is being beaten by other players internationally because this market is so free when it comes to competition. Anybody can compete in the market. All right, and just look at damage that this policy of the government will do to the public. It will definitely stunt productivity. It's going to lead to cronyism, and it's going to lead to price fixing between these selected TNCs. So imagine there's not going to be a room for growth for every TNC. So however you try to succeed, however you try to provide excellent service, there's not going to be any room for improvement because it's going to reward just the incompetent, the worst service provider in the sector, because they're assured or guaranteed of 10,000 bikers, and these 10,000 bikers wouldn't even like to be with the other two companies or transport networks. I'll be more than happy to support Joyride or Move It as long as they provide better service. And these two companies should be protesting this policy of the government. Joyride and Move It should be protesting this policy kept by the government, because what if they're going to be successful in the long run? Okay, there's going to be no room for improvement for them because there is a ceiling up there. Okay, how will they be able to expand, right, if they're only allowed to have 10,000 bikers? Probably by the end of the day, whoever is going to have the government support will lobby the government to, oh, hey, now that we are now successful, allow us to get more bikers. Let's see who actually has the government favor. This is definitely corruption. Mr. Royka is actually right in saying that this is about corruption. Who actually own these two companies? This must be cronies. This is cronism. And let's talk about competition. Okay, like I said, I've been trying to emphasize competition. Competition is free market. Okay, laissez-faire competition. Laissez-faire means back off policy. Allow us to do whatever we want as long as we're not violating the rules. The only role of the government in this case is to serve as a referee. As long as these TNCs are not violating public rights, as long as the TNCs are not violating traffic rules, it should be free to improve its service. It should be free to gain more bikers. It should be free to expand. Okay, and like I told you earlier, this 10,000 cap is not going to be good for the public because they won't be able to force to compete with each other. Okay, they won't. There's not going to be any incentive to improve their service because they're guaranteed, bikers, and the best provider of excellent service is not gonna it's not gonna grow. It's gonna be stunted, and this is actually a corrupt policy of the government. It's not really fostering growth, and that's the reason why we have very poor economy in this country, and that's what's happened to Uber in the first place. Okay, and that's what killed competition in this country. Uber leaving the Philippines and giving the service or the competition to Grab is actually the reason why all these multinational companies are avoiding the Philippines. They don't like to invest in the Philippines because of the corrupt economic policies of this government, and it's actually the policy of the Duterte government. To be honest with you, all right. So this is not gonna be good for everybody. Not good for even Move It and Joyride. Joyride is going to regret it unless they have the favor and support of the government. They may probably lobby the government in the long run, or probably after a few years of achieving a lot of money or success after becoming a dragon. Okay, after becoming so powerful, they might lobby the government to increase the ceiling, or even to allow them to go as high as they wanted to. So like I said, this is not about freedom, this is about corruption. So again, the question is, what if Angkas bikers don't want to leave Angkas? That's not freedom, that is corruption, that is totalitarianism. It's like a communist or tyrannical government trying to tell you, hey, I'm going to give you your freedom to choose, and choose this. That's exactly what the government is trying to do here, and this is not good for everybody, like I said. And I hope that the geniuses in the government will be able to realize how stupid and corrupt this policy is, because it's not gonna just affect our economy, it's gonna affect the impression, or the how foreign investors look at us as an economic territory in Asia. So this is not gonna be good, and that's the reason why we're poor, because what the government is doing is it's punishing success by forcing Angkas to subsidize. That's actually the case. Angkas is being forced to subsidize its own competitors. That's the truth. And Angkas is being punished for its success. And no, the DOT, the Department of Transportation, is so stupid, it's so corrupt for saying that it's providing the bikers the freedom to choose. They're not providing the freedom to choose because they're not even in the position to provide or have the capability to provide that type of option, because all they have is regulation. The only group here that's actually providing option is Angkas, because it provides real service, real value to the public. The government does nothing except regulate and destroy this sector. And I hope that this should be a learning factor for everyone, and I hope that we would have a government in the future that is actually has the capability and the knowledge to serve us. That's the only way we can have a better government and economy in the future. And this is again Toza, man. Have a good one.